Welcome back, everyone. Today is Sunday, November 8th, and basically, as predicted, Joe Biden did, in fact, win the presidency, made his victory speech just last night. For those of you who are watching, what do you think of Mr. Biden? Do you think, regardless or not, or whether you voted for him, do you think he will be a good president? Do you have faith in him? Or do you think he's essentially the same byproduct that created a Donald Trump and is the same president that we will see that will create maybe not just Trump, but another candidate that could be similar to Trump? What are your thoughts? Let us know down below in the comments. Let's keep the conversation going. So we are going to do another stimulus package update in this video for you now that the presidency has been declared. Trump is still yet to concede, but he is softening his position according to sources, and he could potentially be willing to do a peaceful transfer. He would be able to do a peaceful transfer to the next president, and he might even run again in 2024. What are your thoughts on that as well? Let me know down below in the comments. Do you think Trump will run again in 2024? Don Jr., right? DJ, TJ, his son, is also one of the prospects to run again when it comes for 2024. As far as my opinion, I think that, Joe Biden has already declared himself a transition president. He's already declared himself that he'd be a transition candidate. And what could that mean? Well, perhaps he would step down and let Kamala Harris be president when it does come time for 2024. And in that event, then Trump could probably easily beat Kamala Harris, unless his presidency is one of the greatest in history and he does an unbelievable job. But I think, just my opinion, I think he'll be an average president, because a lot of the first couple of years is going to be spent reversing everything Trump did and trying to tackle and contain the virus. I don't think this is going to be an unbelievable presidency, but it could definitely set us up for a better president down the road. So discussions surrounding a brand new stimulus package and second stimulus check have now gained momentum. It's picking up steam now that the Senate is ready to convene back to work and ready to return to Capitol Hill. The election is over. All sights are now on the next stimulus check and stimulus package and recovering this economy and just running out the clock on the last 60, 70 days or so of the Trump administration. And by the way, if you have been enjoying my videos, my stimulus updates, my election coverage, go ahead and give the video a big thumbs up, smash the like button. Just to help with that YouTube algorithm, YouTube will actually push the video out to more people, so to support myself, and it also benefits everyone else, mutually beneficial, so that way they're in the know about what's going on, getting the last minute up-to-date updates. And if you're brand new here, you might want to consider actually subscribing. If you're a fresh face here, go ahead and click that big red button, the subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell as well. That would just notify you every single time I do make a new one. So that way you'll be first in line to see that video before anyone else gets to it. So just do those few things for me. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and that notification bell. I would appreciate it. So bipartisan negotiations over the contents of the package could be rekindled now that all sets are on the stimulus package. However, the Trump administration is also solely focused on these lawsuits and trying to overturn the results. We'll see what happens. That could definitely play a factor, but it's now up to Congress, and that is the only chief focus of Congress right now, and it really, truly should be. Now, once we actually have a draft in our hands, a newly announced proposal, we'll know a lot more about the substance, such as who will be eligible and when we could receive it. Will it be by the end of the year, or have to be for the next president to come in, the 46th president, Mr. Joseph Biden? So as far as who will be eligible for the next stimulus check, we could base that on the CARES Act. And the reason for that is because we still have a divided Congress. Let's say the Democrats did take the Senate, you would see a much more liberal spending package come with the next stimulus check, and you'd be seeing numbers through the roof that we haven't seen proposed from Democrats in a very long time. We've had several proposals, multi-trillion-dollar proposals that we covered so many months ago on this channel. It feels like years ago that I did them. And those were from very liberal Democrats, very progressive Democrats, proposing crazy things such as up to $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 a month for families. So let's say that we did have a Congress that ended up being Democrat and a White House that ended up being Democrat. If those were the results of the election, then we'd be talking about so much more higher numbers when it came to the stimulus check. But the GOP is still leading the majority of the Senate, so we're still going to be seeing a rather conservative, unless Mitch McConnell gives in, unless he finally just gets motivated to sign something, and maybe that will help him in the next run. I don't know. Mitch McConnell is just not very interested right now. He's just kind of disheartened and disconcerted. He doesn't really feel like doing much. So under the CARES Act, if you were an individual tax filer earning up to $75,000, you would qualify for a stimulus check. If you're married filing jointly, a joint filing couple earning up to $150,000, you would qualify for $2,400, $1,200 times 2. That will likely be the amount of the next stimulus check. So under those conditions, you would receive the full payment. So $75,000 for individuals, you would receive the full $1,200. And then for $150,000 earners, you would receive the full $2,400, not a penny less, not a penny more. And then the payment is reduced by $5 for each $100 above those thresholds. So single filers with income over $99,000 and joint filers with no children earning above $198,000 are not eligible to receive 1 penny. Now, the difference between the CARES Act and the likely prospective next stimulus package is going to be that definition of dependents and young children that are dependent on their parents, their college students, their teenagers. That definition will be expanded no matter what. Even with that Republican majority, they are willing to do this. They are in favor of this. They want to expand that definition of dependents as well. So in the first round of stimulus checks were sent out, millions of Americans were excluded from receiving a payment, and it was a whole debacle to even exacerbate the situation. There was so many technical glitches with the IRS portal and that whole fiasco. So what happened is those who were between the ages of 17 and 24 who were also claimed as child dependents didn't get a check of their own due to that tax code definition of a child. So if you're 17 or older, you're not considered a child under the CARES Act, even if you still live at home. So we've seen the House of Representatives and the Senate propose legislation that no matter how old you are, as long as you're claimed as a dependent, you would receive $500 as a dependent. And then the current White House proposals that have been the center of these negotiations between people like Nancy Pelosi, Mark Meadows, Steve Mnuchin, under those proposals, they would keep the same definition under the CARES Act, but rather increase the amount from $500 to $1,000 for dependents. And then even so, if someone claims you as a dependent on their taxes, you won't get a check of your own. And then an area that remains to be seen, we truly don't know, because depending on who gets the shorter end of the stick in negotiations, whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans, the topic of non-resident aliens, you may or may not receive a stimulus check. The government specifically defines someone who is a non-resident alien as someone who has, quote, has not passed the green card test or the substantial presence test. Now, you do not have to be a U.S. citizen to receive the first stimulus payment. However, non-citizens must have a social security number and live and work in the U.S. to receive a stimulus check under that CARES Act. And then the HEROES Act that the Democrats proposed and was passed in the House back in May and then revised back in October, the Republicans have strongly rejected that proposal as being way too liberal and have so many line items in there that were just unnecessary in regards to the coronavirus. However, that HEROES Act would extend stimulus checks to a group of people who aren't U.S. citizens and pay U.S. taxes through a taxpayer identification number provided by the IRS. And then let's say in a hypothetical scenario that you were married to someone that's a non-resident alien, you still were not able to receive the first stimulus check for yourselves or money for your dependents if you file your taxes jointly, even if the qualifying parent and child are citizens of the U.S. Under the CARES Act definition, in order to receive a stimulus check, you would have to have a social security number or be a member of the U.S. Armed Forces during the tax year. Other areas of debate and discussion have been if you're actually someone who is incarcerated or if you owe child support. But there's so much fine print when it comes to those topics that we're not even going to get into what the CARES Act called for. We're going to wait for legislation and see if we can get that draft in our hands or the final proposal, and then we'll know those areas of those people happen to be yourself. Well, thank you for watching from prison. I do appreciate you, and I'll take any of my subscribers, whether you're imprisoned or not. I appreciate your support. Other areas of discourse have actually been if you died during the last tax filing, or perhaps if you owe money to debt collectors or the government and your wages can actually be garnished or your stimulus check can actually be taken from you. Those are also areas where people are talking about, but let's wait for that next proposal. So that's all we're cognizant of right now when it comes to the next stimulus package. We're going to be waiting this week. There could be so many more developments when the Senate finally returns back to work and the election is over. Campaign season is finally over, and now we could finally start focusing on relief and recovery. If you did get value out of this video, if you enjoyed it, go ahead and give the video a big thumbs up, smash the like button, and if you want to see more videos on my channel, hit that subscribe button, the big red button, also hit that notification bell as well, that way you're notified every single time I do make a new one. I do videos now every single solitary day, no exceptions, no excuses. Looking forward to seeing you in the next one.